over twice, including a critical fumble that set up a game-winning field goal by the Bears as Chicago escaped D.C. with a 25-24 win on Monday Night Football. LRN. UL Lafayette head coach Michael Desormeaux says junior quarterback Walker Howard is back practicing fully this week after missing the last 6 weeks with an oblique injury that required surgery. Lunch Whitfield is still the Cajun starting quarterback, but Desormeaux says Howard is glad to be back.
I mean, look, Lunch is playing well. The Marshall game obviously was unbelievable. He's playing really well right now. I mean, he made some big throws. He stood in the pocket now and took some freaking shots against James Madison. You don't mess with those things whenever you got a guy that's playing well. And Walker was the first one to tell me. He's like, look, I get it. You know he's playing good. He goes, I'm just excited to be back and be practicing, which is unbelievable for a kid to say who's been through everything he's been through.
The Cajuns host Southern Miss on Saturday. High school football polls, undefeated Vanderbilt Catholic has moved into the top 10 in the Class 4A poll. North DeSoto remains ranked number 1 in 4A. Mangum has entered the top 10 in the Class 2A poll, while Washita Christian remains the number 1 team in 2A. LRN.
KSYL.
Travelers looking for a getaway are turning to ChatGPT to plan the perfect holiday. And why not? You can tell it what's in your fridge, and it's going to come up with great dinner menus. So a vacation should be easy, as long as you get a second opinion. I'm Kim Commando for ExpressVPN. One-click hide your internet activity from hackers and snoops. Get 4 extra months free at expressvpn.com/Kim. As you might guess, a lot of people are using Chat as their own personal travel agent. ChatGPT's itineraries look fantastic. The problem is that sometimes they don't really exist. In fact, more than half of all AI-generated travel itineraries suggest visiting an attraction outside its opening hours. Yikes. 1 in 4 recommend a hotel that never existed or was permanently closed. It even provides phony addresses on a made-up street. Occasionally, Chat even fails to advise about required visas necessary for entry. So yes, Chat has great ideas and also a vivid imagination. Get my newsletter at getkim.com. Remember the good old days of the internet, a place where you could truly feel free without snoops or spies watching every move? Unfortunately, now we go online knowing we're being tracked. Our internet service providers can see our entire browsing history, and in the United States, they're legally allowed to sell this information. Who knows what they'll do with it? That's why I use ExpressVPN. It's a virtual private network that reroutes 100% of my online activity through secure encrypted servers, shielding it from the prying eyes of my service provider and other third parties. ExpressVPN hides my internet address, the number identifying me online, so I can't be tracked. My online activity is actually mine again. Imagine that. It's so easy to use that your entire family can figure it out with just one tap. And it works on all your devices, phones, tablets, TVs, desktops, up to 8 devices at once. Let's return to the good old days of online privacy and freedom. Use my special link to get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN for free at expressvpn.com/Kim. That's expressvpn.com/Kim.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. Good morning. Nathan Martin sitting in right here for Al on Tuesdays, as is the tradition around here, along with the perennial all-star, Stephen Maxwell. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm more of a utility player that's like a backup.
But you're here every day.
That's right.
So Al and I swap out. You're the consistency. You're the glue.
I'm Mr. Consistent.
Well, I do have to give my condolences to Al.
Oh, no, they lost.
Yeah, right. 2-1.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but what was really weird about it, Al, first of all, my condolences. It's a difficult loss as the Dodgers scored in the 6th and in the 9th to go up 2-1. Brewers got 1 in the 9th, but not able to pull it out. But the Brewers did have a historic double play. I don't know if you saw that. It doesn't really help to show video on.
I could play it right here if we hold up. You could do a share screen over there, can't you?
I have no idea. Tell me what to do.
Oh, we'll figure it out.
But I can tell you what happened. They call it a historic 8-6-2 double play. First time ever in the history of MLB that such a thing has happened, because outfielder catches the ball off the wall. It hit the yellow stripe, but not above the yellow stripe, therefore not a home run, but once the ball hit the wall, even though he called it like a deflected hit, a deflected catch, once that ball hit the wall, it's no longer a catch. And so the players have to advance, and they had a force out at home to the catcher, who then ran to third base himself because the guy on second didn't advance, and he was supposed to. So the catcher got to third base before the runner at second base got there. And so the catcher got both of them out himself with the 8-6-2 double play. So,
But who was on defense?
Brewers. Yeah.
Brewers,
So the Brewers have that, went down in history as having the first time ever. So Muncy hits that deep ball to center field. Sal Frelick almost caught the ball. He did catch the ball, but it was off of a glance off the wall. And then because it hit the wall, it wasn't an out. The runners thought it was caught, so they held up. They tagged up, and Frelick threw it to shortstop Joey Ortiz, who got it back to the catcher Contreras, and that was the force out. And I think they had to even review the out at home because the ball got there almost tied to the runner. The ball got there like 5 milliseconds before the runner got there from third base, and then Contreras just kind of jogged to third base. And the third base was like, throw it to me. And Contreras was like, no, I got this. So it is the first 8-6-2 double play in postseason history is what it says here. And wow, that was that was all over my Twitter feed last night. And when I first saw it, the game was still on. And so I thought, okay, well, hey, Brewers are going to come back. I mean, it was tied 0-0 at that point. But then I saw the disappointing final for Al. So our condolences. Al's in mourning today. The game is not over, so we're still got the series going. But
I think he's a little nervous about it. I mean, because the Dodgers are pretty stacked. Right. They have all the money.
I was going to my line because I hear him say that all the time.
Yesterday after the show, he was like, well, we shouldn't win anyway because they got all the money. I was like, you're reconciling with yourself already.
He's okay. Getting ready for it.
You're getting ready. But I mean, hey, let's have some hope.
Hey, we're glad to have all of you tuned in today on this Tuesday morning. I call them Terrific Tuesdays because for me it's terrific. I get to be here with Steve and chat and talk about things that are going on. Take your phone calls on the BOM talk line, 318-442-8255. Love to have you call in and chat with us today. At 8 o'clock, we've got Mayor Joe Bishop coming in for the Pineville segment, which we have on the second Tuesday of every month. And I need to go ahead and mea culpa again. I called in Friday. You guys let me do that. I was out of town, but I called in just before 8 o'clock. And I totally blew it last week when I said that the council meeting was moving from Tuesday to Monday. That will happen in November, but it's not happening this month. And it was funny, we were talking about it, and I made the comment, because of Veterans Day, we're moving, but I still was glitching in my brain.
I wasn't paying attention either about, it's not even November yet.
Right. Yeah. That would have been a nice catch and saved me all that grief that I've gotten for not knowing the difference between November and
Yeah, they changed it for Leif Erikson Day.
Yeah. That's your hero,
why y'all
right?
wouldn't do that?
Why do you like him so much?
I don't know. I don't even know what he is.
Wasn't he like a Viking, not a Viking, a Norwegian explorer?
It's the most obscure holiday I can think of, and so I always ask for it off.
What's funny about that is that yesterday was Columbus Day, and that's a weird holiday. It is a federal holiday, but only about 20 states recognize it.
No, we don't.
No, Louisiana didn't. That's why the state office building was open. Rapides Parish, all Rapides Parish offices, municipalities were open.
I was wondering.
And I think it's because we like to have our holidays, we want a day off for Mardi Gras, or we want a day off for something else that's not the rest of the United States.
That makes sense.
And so, so Leif Erikson was a Norse explorer from Greenland around 1000, and he was the son of Eric the Red. So, and he settled in Newfoundland, Canada. So really about 500 years before Columbus ever set sail.
He's an important figure. He should be taken off for that. I think it was off of like SpongeBob or something too when I was a kid. Like they had an episode with Leif Erikson. So I think
I was called Eric the Red growing up some because here's a little trivia. My middle name is Eric.
Is it really?
It is. And I was blonde, turning red, strawberry blonde is what they called it by the time I got to later elementary school. I was so white-headed in my preschool and early elementary years that my uncle called me Cotton Top. That was his nickname for me. So now you can call me Cotton Top because it's white, because it's blonde.
It'll happen to all of us.
Well, it does. I heard you guys talking about losing your hair the other day, and I'm when Al is definitely not. I don't know if that's a testosterone thing or he's eating enough cheese curds, but he's got hair for
He's full of it.
ages. He's full of it.
He's got the hair genetics.
All right, so I mentioned we've got Mayor Joe Bishop coming in at 8 o'clock. At 8:30, we're going to have a phone call from the pharmacy director at Rapides Regional Medical Center talking about an event they've got coming up October the 24th, if I recall, and they're going to be hosting an opportunity for you to get rid of prescription drugs, perhaps that you don't want to keep around the house. You don't know what to do with that. It's called Crush the Crisis 2025. And that will take place on the 24th. There'll be locations at Max Fresh Market in Alexandria and Tioga. We'll be talking to Danielle Bryant, the pharmacy director at Rapides Regional, why this is important and why you should not be flushing it down the toilet. So please pay attention to that. The rest of the time, it's just a wide open line for you to call in and share your thoughts. I want to go to your story from last night after the break. We'll set it up a little bit now, though. For whatever reason, you were the only news media outlet that covered what it really is essentially a bomb buster of a story with a blockbuster, I guess is a better word than a bomb buster.
I did like bomb buster. That was cool.
We'll start a new trend. But we're talking about the Rapides Parish Police Jury and their vote to hire a law firm to look into possible money owed them from Acadian Ambulance. And so we'll have that story coming up at the 8:30 hour. And then we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I hope we don't talk about healthcare because you guys kind of beat that horse to death Friday and yesterday.
Healthcare. So we can probably think of something with healthcare.
Hey, come on, I'm good with that. I'm good with something else. So LSU defeated South Carolina over the weekend. They got Vanderbilt, and newsflash, Vanderbilt's good this year.
I had no idea, but they told me that yesterday.
Yeah, they're ranked.
I am so disconnected from sports.
But let me congratulate you. You actually.
No, I won.
I don't know if you won or not, but you at least had your lineup in place.
Oh, no.
Let me go look.
If I won, that'll be embarrassing for whoever I beat.
Well, you and my son are doing the same. We're talking about fantasy football here.
Oh, was it your son?
I know. I'm saying y'all are both doing the same thing. He has not. Said he had like 3 guys with a bye and 2 at injured reserve in his starters yesterday.
We're busy young workers.
Y'all, the young guys are not paying any attention to fantasy football,
which is kind of surprising.
I won 155-61 over a very good player, Joe Dupree. So that shocks me. He just had an off game, but trying to find the results here. And I can't find them. You know.
Yeah, I'll do the draft. I probably paid attention to the draft more than others.
Yeah.
I stuck with it to the end, but I do not keep up with the lineup. I used to, but not anymore.
So as I'm going, Al beat Jimmy Saltel pretty handily, 102-52, and then Eugene Sutherland lost to Chris Workman, 161-96. The two riches, the battle of the riches, it was big win over there for Rich Carlisle. And then Josh Dupree destroyed my son 117-32. He had 32. And so he had a bye, and he had 2 guys in a bye and 2 guys in injured reserve. But now for the big news, Fire Jerry, mastered by Stephen Maxwell, 122 to Steve's Swamp Dogs, 112. You got your first win of the season. And what's funny, I think Steve's Swamp Dogs were like 4-1 coming into the game. So you didn't beat a lackluster team.
I got my first win.
You got your first win.
Like 1-6.
So as I look at the standings overall, you are sitting at 1-5. We're 6 games into it. So I'm sorry. He was. I thought he was 5-1. He's 1-5 now too. So never mind.
Well, it was like the Browns versus the Jets.
Oh, there you go. The game that nobody watched.
And the one that nobody watches.
Well, we do have one team that's 0-6, and that is my son, who was so gung-ho for it when it got started, but he just hadn't opened the app since the draft.
He's a busy guy.
I'm just, and unfortunately, though, he's not in my league. It's divided into two leagues, and he's in the other league, so I don't even get help from him losing. Oh, well. All right, that brings us to 7:30. We got a phone call coming in. We're going to go to you right after the break. When we come back, the phone call and then Stephen's story for the police jury right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. If you're still running Windows 10 on your PC, heads up, Microsoft is ending support for the operating system today. The company is encouraging users to jump to Windows 11. Keep in mind, 25% of active Windows PCs in the workplace are still running Windows 10. That's according to IDC. The tit for tat on trade continues between the U.S. and China, sending stocks lower this morning. Beijing hit the U.S. with more retaliatory measures in the shipping industry. S&P futures are up 58 points, Dow futures rising 300. This is the third day of big swings for the market as U.S.-China tensions return to the forefront. Yesterday, the Dow rebounded 588 points. And Instagram will prohibit users under 18 from seeing content considered inappropriate for a PG-13 rated movie. The social media site will use artificial intelligence to determine whether the content on the app qualifies. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Have a ghoulishly good time Friday, October 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Tales Along the Bayou, Rapids Parish Library's annual storytelling spooktacular. Enjoy live music from Brian and Terry Kinder, Not So Scary Stories by master storyteller Sylvia Yancey Davis, plus trick-or-treating, food, and frightfully fun activities for the whole family. Don't miss this eerie evening under the stars at the Kent House. For more info, creep over to rpl.org.
I'm not complaining, but it could be a few degrees cooler, right? Good morning. Our forecast calling for sunny skies today. 87 will do it for the afternoon high. It doesn't get much prettier than this in Louisiana. Winds out of the north-northeast at 5 to 10. 57 the overnight low again tonight. And tomorrow we'll see exact same forecast. 87 for the high under sunny skies. First mention of any rain, maybe on Saturday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
Welcome back to Talk Back with Nathan Martin and Benedict Arnold. Stephen Maxwell, who just told me before we came on the air he's switching from Android back to Apple. I am heartbroken.
Well, I have a good reason for that. So my work phone is an iPhone 16.
Okay.
And with my job, it's just, I think Samsung phones are generally better. However, when it comes to shooting video, the iPhone is king by far. That's the one thing they do better.
You see my glassy eyes?
I know.
I'm
But I got the 17 on pre-order, the orange one, and I'm pumped about it. It shoots video, and it has the feature where you can shoot a selfie video of you in a box and then show what's in the back camera. So it's like two cameras
at
at
once.
once.
On my Samsung.
Yeah, but this one's better.
Oh, it's better. Don't say it's better. It's
And you can shoot
more
horizontal.
widely adopted.
You can shoot horizontal while holding the phone vertically.
Well, welcome back to your crowded jungle of a jail.
I know your animosity. I understand it, but it's
all right.
Social media video king.
And let me say, it really all is in good jest because it is a great platform. There's no doubt about it.
It's a beautiful phone.
They're both wonderful platforms, but I prefer the freedom that Android gives me versus having things dictated to me.
I prefer American-made Apple.
American. Okay.
Kind of.
We had a caller that stayed all the way through the commercial and then dropped off, and I hate that because we were going to go to you first, but since you're not there... do you have those 25 Ultras? Have you seen those? You should upgrade. They are nice. I'm on a 22, so I'm 3 years old.
The 25 Ultra is nice. Get it, though, in a couple months because the 26 is about to come out.
That's right. But also, there is a new trifold coming out.
I saw that.
January 4th.
Yeah, but it's like $3,000.
Yeah.
Because I want that. If I could have, let me say this: if my wife would have let me buy the Z Fold 7 from Samsung, I would have bought that over the iPhone 17.
I've got two or three friends that have the Z Fold 7. It is a fine phone.
And my wife wouldn't let me get the $2,000 phone.
The trifold is literally a tablet in your hands.
I know that is. I got my iPad, so we'll be all right.
I don't have an iPad, so okay. All right. Well, we teased you about the Rapides Parish story. This is about 4 minutes long, and Stephen did a great job, as always, covering this. Let's listen to the audio from this story on Stephen Maxwell TV at Sunlight Broadcasting.
And recover any public funds that may be owed to the parish.
The Rapides Parish Police Jury picked up where it left off a week ago, this time voting to hire the Gold Law Firm in a case against Acadian Ambulance.
Make a motion to retain the Gold Law Firm to represent the citizens of Rapides Parish and the police jury in a contract matter with Acadian Ambulance and recover any public funds that may be owed to the parish and designate the president as a point of contact.
At Monday's regular meeting, Rapides Parish Police Juror Randy Harris claimed Acadian Ambulance made its response times look better by taking too many exceptions. An exception is when an emergency call response time isn't calculated due to various reasons. In Harris's report, he claims Acadian took thousands of exceptions over the years, including more than 5,200 in 2024.
So the daily average of these contract exceptions that were taken from 2021 through 2025 is a low of 12.49 per day and a high of 15.46 every day, which far exceeds the national average.
There are a couple of reasons why Harris says that matters, but first here's some background. Pafford EMS took over as the sole ambulance provider in Rapides Parish in June of 2025 after complaints over Acadian's response times. Acadian was the sole provider for around 3 decades. Since then, jurors and stakeholders have been trying to nail.
Okay. I tried to share the screen and it stopped it.
For compliance reports for the month of March, April, May, and June, the adjustment percentage of complaints may be one of these approximate ranges. And the ratio, compliance ratio is 80% or greater. But if you take out all of these exceptions, they have a low of 49% compliance and a high of only 69% of compliance. And that's dependent upon the zones and the time limits. We want it to be 80%.
Harris also claims Acadian could owe the parish money if its averages weren't calculated correctly.
Contract penalties. If it's 78 to less than 80%, it's a $500 fine. If it's 75 to less than 77, these are monthly penalties. That's $1,000. If it's less than 75, it's a $5,000 penalty.
Acadian is also the sole ambulance provider for Ouachita Parish. Harris then compared numbers from the two parishes.
In the year of 2024, Rapides Parish, Acadian took 5,202 exceptions. In Ouachita, they took 30. And that was, if you see next to that, most of those exceptions were taken due to an ice storm.
Jurors then went into executive session, meaning closed to the public. When they called the public back in, all the jurors except Jay Scott voted to hire the Gold Law Firm in the case. Sunlight Broadcasting reached out to Acadian Ambulance. A representative responded, quote, "We have complied fully and in good faith with the committee's request for information." This is a developing story. Follow this page for the latest.
Well, there you go.
Oh, and by the way, for all your roofing needs, check out Han Roofing storm damage installation repairs. I don't know how I'm going to get down from here.
Always got to play the.
Got to get that money in.
That's right. These sponsors get their time. So. So what a great story, Stephen, that you shared. And, you were at the meeting last week when they had some information about the number of exceptions that the previous provider had used. And then that was brought out at this particular case. What I found interesting was the comparison of exceptions in another parish versus the exceptions here.
Yeah, Ouachita.
And then in Ouachita Parish, they said it was due to ice delays. I'm curious if there is any information about why the exceptions were taken in Rapides Parish.
we will have to see. I'm sure we'll hear more as they investigate that more closely. And of course, we heard from Acadian last week saying that they did what they thought they were supposed to do, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And we're going to look into it some more. It's going to be developing. We might have some more stories soon. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I want to talk some more about it. We'll continue the conversation right after this break.
KSYL. This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter. At the clinics, your health is our priority. Whether it's a routine checkup or ongoing care, we are here for you. Dr. Noah Miller, our newest family medicine physician, along with 5 other dedicated family physicians, are now accepting new patients. Schedule your appointment today. And remember, if you're ever admitted to the hospital, our doctors will see you there too. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The clinics, 1587 North Bolton, 445-9823, online at theclinics.us.
Think your antivirus is enough? Think again. Your business firewall is the first and often only line of defense against cyber attacks. At Kinetics, we manage, monitor, and update your firewall 24/7, keeping threats out and your data protected. Don't leave your network exposed for your team scrambling. Let the experts handle it. Get your free assessment today at kinetics.solutions. That's kinetics.solutions. Kinetics, IT that works.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, October 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Welcome back to Talkback, where we're chatting with you about the Rapides Parish Police Jury meeting yesterday, and I wanted to ask Stephen some more questions about it. But before I get to my questions, I always like to defer to the phone calls. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Good morning, Stephen and Nathan. How are you all?
Doing well, doing well. This voice sounds like somebody I think I know.
This is Stephen with Patrick.
It is.
Yeah, I thought I'd call it this morning. Hey, Talkback's addicting. I love this show. Okay, it's awesome.
We like hearing you say that. That's great.
Oh, it is. Get to find out what all's going on in the parish and what's going on in the towns and all the events, things. So, anyway, appreciate you all and the good work you do, keeping everyone informed. And Pafford, we're honored to be there, and we're glad to, provide a service that's transparent, open, and honest with you all. We're open-faced. We promise to be that way. And at the last meeting, our response times in Alexandria and Pineville, that average response time was 6 minutes and 17 seconds, and then the rural areas, where we're supposed to be 20 minutes or less was 13 minutes. The average response time was 13 minutes and 25 seconds. And so taking no exceptions, and, we're honored to be there, and we appreciate the positive feedback that we receive from our patients. And I look forward to continuing to provide a great service that you all can be proud of. Appreciate our team, our dispatchers. Just recently we started doing all of our call taking right there in our comm center, creating 15 additional jobs for the citizens there locally. And so things are rolling, and we appreciate this community support and welcoming us in.
Well, and last week, my wife and I were out eating at a local restaurant and saw a couple of Pafford folks in uniform there. And I asked, are you guys on ambulance? And said, no, they were part of your staff there at the office. And we're just eating lunch. And I thought, that is so great that, that's more economic development, more dollars staying right here in the community, even though I know you're a I think, Arkansas-based company. Is that right?
Our corporate headquarters in Ruston, and we also have an office in Ridgeland as well. And so we've got, several parishes, 6, 7 parishes there in Louisiana. So it's pretty neat to see our people out and about, and supporting local economies, and not only that, but making a difference in the lives of the patients we serve. And we're proud of our ambulances and equipment, but none of that matters if you can't get there on time. If you're having to wait 40 minutes or an hour, it doesn't matter if you have a brain surgeon on board. The time is ticking, and so it's important to get there.
Well, I've told the story on the air not too long ago that my daughter had an accident about a mile from the house, And those who know our area very well understand the intersection, maybe a mile and a half. She calls me, her airbag is just deployed. She's freaked out. She's crying, so I get in my car, and it doesn't take me long to go a mile and a half to get to where she's at. And before I get out of my car and get to her car, the Padford ambulance is driving up. So phenomenal response time. Y'all may have had like a 2-minute response time on that one. So that definitely helped the curve. But, and I think people are seeing that. I think the thing that has impressed many as well, Stephen, is the transparency. The fact that y'all took 0 exceptions, and was it Greg that was down last week talking with the police jury and taking questions head on?
That's right, yeah. And Alex was there. I was there as well, and we're just going to continue to do that. We got to make sure the citizens and the police jury are armed with the facts, and that the community has the facts regarding the service that we're providing you all, and the number of ambulances that are there in the parish that are running calls. Probably the highest number ever, and the lowest average response times. I mean, how long has it been since the average response times in Alexandria have been 6 minutes? Our employees are making that happen. We want to safely do that. We don't want to be, you can't be unsafe and, we got to meet this contract. No, we still have to be safe. That's number one. That's our top priority, is to be safe. But we want to do our very best to provide a service that everyone can be proud of, that everyone can rally behind and say, you know what, this is better, because you know what, better is always better.
I want to get your thoughts too. I know that you guys are trying to get the raw data with those response time numbers. Do y'all think that 90% is achievable?
Well, that's a great question, Stephen. And I remember a conversation on Talkback kind of at the beginning before we ever got started. And a caller asked, what's the most difficult thing for you all? And we said, that the fractile response time is going to be the most difficult. It's not the average. Our average response time is 6 minutes and a half in Alexandria and Pineville. And so if the contract said average response time, we'd be fine, but the fractile response time at 90%, which is a 10% increase, is very difficult, and it continues to be difficult. And so we made no bones about that, early on, that's a very, very, very high standard. It's also a new standard. The incumbent provider wasn't held to that standard either. And so, anyway, we, do it now?
Do you expect the police jury to possibly change that? Do you want to see them change the contract?
Well, I think that's a conversation that the ambulance control board's got to have. They've got to look at what's reasonable, what's responsible, what also holds us accountable, what's right in the eyes of the citizens. And so when you look at our average response time, like I mentioned, of 6 minutes, certainly there's some opportunity to look at that. This information that the police jury brought up yesterday, you're at a disadvantage when you don't have long-standing, true, accurate data when you're coming into an area. And the data that you thought you had was accurate, and it's actually inaccurate, and then you contract based off of some of that information. So we've got to look at that and see what's right, by the people, see what's right by the control board and the police jury. And, we're committed to a long-term relationship there, and we're committed to doing the right thing,
On the phone is Stephen Sutton with Padford EMS. Do you think it was the right move by the police jury to take action against the previous provider?
Well, I think that it's appropriate to hold people accountable, including Padford. If we are in fact, lying about response times and whatever else, the police jury needs to hold us accountable too. And so it's not a one-sided street. And so, we obviously want to be held accountable. We have, this is not the first area. I mean, we're held accountable in every parish and county that we're in. And so it's not a new thing to us. And the long game, though, is honesty and transparency. You can have a quick win, being shady or whatever. But if you want to be in a community long term and you want to build their trust, and that's done through honest, open discussion, communication, dialogue. And the police jury, they'll have to sort out all of that. I can just speak for us and saying that we're going to continue the path of being honest and transparent with you all, and doing our very best every single day to provide an ambulance service that saves lives and makes a difference in the community for the citizens of the parish.
And sometimes when people hear these statistics about ambulance services, it can be a little bit like Chinese, right? So whenever you saw the 5,200 plus exceptions that was allegedly taken, what was your thoughts on that situation?
Well, when I learned of that information yesterday, it was a little surprising to me. And then, of course, looking at, Ouachita Parish and No Exceptions, which I'm also familiar with the RFP that they put out as well. In fact, they're very similar. Ouachita Parish and Rapides are they have some similarities in the way that they're set up. But that's a lot of exceptions, and of course, obviously, you can throw. I wish we were able to throw out all of our bad calls. If we were able to just pick and choose what we wanted to report, then we wouldn't have any trouble making a 90%. It just doesn't work that way, though. It doesn't work that way, because if the goal is to, is the goal to provide a great service, or is the goal to try to manipulate numbers that makes it look like you're providing a great service? We want to provide a great service, and we don't want to manipulate the data. We want to provide a great service. That's the only way you're going to make a difference and meet the need, make a difference in the community, is by providing a great emergent ambulance service to the citizens when they're in need. That's the only way you're going to do it.
All right, Stephen Sutton with Pafford EMS. Appreciate you calling in, but even more than that, I appreciate you listening to KSYL. I love you saying that we're addictive. So I appreciate that very much.
Actually, when you were talking about your daughter a minute ago, I was actually listening. I was actually listening to that session as well. Didn't call in, but I was actually listening. I do listen often, and I do enjoy this. I love hearing the people call in. It just is a great community feel, in the same community feel that I'm used to growing up when we had talk radio, and people got their information there, and they engaged there, and they asked difficult questions there. And it's a great thing that you all provide for the citizens there. Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate you all. Hope you have a great week.
Thanks, Stephen. You too. All right, there you go. Stephen Sutton with Pafford EMS calling in as a regular listener. And you can do that too. 318-442-8255 is the number. We'll be back with our last segment before the top of the hour right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to Today's Dental in Pineville, Virtual Align Clear Aligners. The fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is World Series champion David DeLucci. When I wasn't playing baseball, you could always find me on a deer stand, and owning my own land always gave me peace of mind. If that's your goal, remember the name First South Farm Credit. At First South, they understand the importance of land ownership and passing down a legacy to the next generation. Whether you're looking for hunting land, farmland, or just a place to get away, make First South your first call. Stop by or find them online at firstsouthland.com.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
Welcome back to Talk Back, where you never know who is going to be on the other side of the phone line, 318-442-8255. We don't screen your calls, so like that call right there came in from Stephen Sutton from Pafford EMS. Enjoyed talking with him, and we'd love to talk to you if you want to give us a call. We were talking before the break and with him about the story Stephen did for the police jury and looking into the possibility. They hired a law firm, the Gold Firm, to consider, or at least to look into, did the previous ambulance provider, Acadian Ambulance, violate the terms of their contract by having so many exceptions on their calls, and by doing so, perhaps there were certain penalties in that contract. If you didn't hit certain marks, you would have to pay fines or penalties, and so by having that many exceptions, did they avoid paying fines that they should have paid? So that's something that will be working in its way through the legal process. Right now, we'll go back to the phone line. Good morning. You want to talk back with Stephen and Nathan?
Yeah, I'll change the subject a little bit. Who would have ever dreamt that Donald J. Hitler would be considered the savior of Israel?
Sorry, you chuckled me there. Steve and I were talking during the break. It is big news. There's no doubt about it. Even some of his fiercest critics have had to give him credit for brokering that deal. One of the most amazing videos I saw last night was a father being reunited to his son, who he hadn't seen in 2 years, and he begins to say in Hebrew, the Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, which is the hero Israel, the Lord is God, the Lord is one. And then he goes on to, blessed are you, King of the universe. I mean, he was just reciting this beautiful prayer in Hebrew, who has brought us to this moment and restored our souls, and the embrace of, that son. Another one with a mother welcoming her son. There is a lot of joy in Israel, and you're right, it is a stunning development.
Well, I just thought it was really ironic, though, because I listen to, those crazy women on The View, and they keep saying that Donald Trump is literally Hitler.
Well, the Knesset didn't seem to think so. In fact, I think they had red hats that they had put together called Trump Man of Peace, is what it said on the hat. Similar to the MAGA hat with the white lettering, but it says Trump Man of Peace, and they were distributing those throughout the Knesset yesterday.
Well, I heard on Walton and Johnson this morning early, one of those women on there said on The View, they played this recording of her saying that if Donald Trump brought about peace and got the hostages out in Israel, that she would wear a MAGA hat for a day. So I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, she actually did. Griffin is the one who made that comment that she would wear it. I wonder if they'll hold her to it. Alyssa Farah Griffin. We'll find out if she keeps her word or not.
All right.
Hey, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. I
can't tell you the last time I've watched The View. Never.
I've only seen clips that others have shared from it. So, oh man, I don't have time. I may have time. Let me try. No, I don't. I don't have time to play the clip. I was going to play the Stephen Colbert clip. Maybe we'll do that after the 8:40 segment. Coming up, we got Mayor Joe Bishop of Pineville talking about what's going on in Pineville and tonight's city council meeting. So stick around with that. Your phone calls, of course, welcome on the VOM Talk Line 318-442-8255. We'll be back after the news with Mayor Joe Bishop.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3, Alexandria.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A tenuous ceasefire is holding in Gaza, a day after the release of the last living hostages, as well as Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Up next, correspondent Deborah Patta from Jerusalem.
There is still a lot of hard work ahead. Negotiators will need to discuss the post-war governance of Gaza. An interim board of peace, as it's called, has been set up with President Trump at the helm, and eventually it will be handed over to Palestinian control. So a lot of work.
Israel has publicly identified 2 of 4 dead hostages handed over yesterday. One was Israeli, the other from Nepal. Families of the other 2 victims asking for anonymity. The U.S. government shutdown about to enter its 3rd week with no resolution in sight.
Democrats are still demanding any spending bill to reopen the government include an extension of health insurance tax credits. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Republicans need to get serious about reopening the government.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We will return to legislative session as soon as the Democrats come to their senses and open the government.
Sites like the National Zoo and Smithsonian museums have run out of money and closed. More flights are being delayed as air traffic controllers and TSA agents call out sick rather than work without pay. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The National Weather Service says a rare and potent storm system has begun slamming Southern California in areas hard hit by last winter's Palisades and Eaton fires. CBS meteorologist Tony Sadiku.
Soggy start parts of California, that Pacific storm sliding to the south, that's leading to multiple impacts, everything from rain to wind. Some soggy conditions with plenty of moisture and upper level energy. You're squeezing out quite a bit of rain. Flooding is a concern, especially for the flood-prone areas and burn scars.
Another political redistricting battle is shaping up. Here's CBS's Jim Krasula.
North Carolina Republican legislative during another GOP seat within already right-leaning boundaries. Democrats are calling the move political corruption.
Maine's 2-term Democratic Governor Janet Mills announcing if she wins a Democratic primary challenge, her next goal will be unseating Republican Senator Susan Collins. The International Monetary Funds just released a new world economic outlook.
The IMF's inflation forecasts are revised upward in the United States, but down in other countries, and tariffs are seen as a factor in boosting prices, even if the report says that's been muted so far. IMF also predicts slower growth in the U.S. economy at 2.0% for this year and holding steady at 2.1% for 2026.
CBS's Michael Toscano. Dow futures are down 468. This is CBS.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
The Louisiana Radio Network, and I'm Jeff Palermo. Former Governor John Bel Edwards says he will not run for U.S. Senate next year. Many Democrats were hoping Edwards would get in the race as Senator Bill Cassidy appears vulnerable, with many GOP voters not supporting the Baton Rouge Republican. But Edwards never showed any interest in running. Political analyst Bernie Pincinat says the next big development in the race is whether Republican Congresswoman Julia Letlow gets into it.
She is a threat to be a heavyweight in this election.
most people, including myself, are awaiting what her decision will be.
It's day 14 of the federal government shutdown. LSU political science professor Robert Hogan says Republicans and Democrats are at odds over whether to extend health care subsidies that millions of Americans rely on to purchase health insurance policies through the Affordable Care Act.
A lot of the Republicans, especially Mike Johnson, have wanted to use this as a partisan issue. But I think the vast majority of the American public is blaming both parties for not doing anything.
LRN.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter with the clinics. We provide primary, family, and chronic care along with gastroenterology, podiatry, with on-site lab and x-ray services. I'm pleased to welcome family physician Dr. Noah Miller to our team. We are currently accepting new patients and same-day appointments are available. If you're admitted into the hospital, our doctors will see you there as well. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. Clinics on North Dalton, 445-9823, and online at theclinics.us.
Good morning. Our forecast calling for sunny skies today. 87 will do it for the afternoon high. Doesn't get much prettier than this in Louisiana. Winds out of the north-northeast at 5 to 10. 57 the overnight low again tonight. And tomorrow we'll see exact same forecast. 87 for the high under sunny skies. First mention of any rain, maybe on Saturday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Talk Back on Tuesday,
the 14th day of October, and if it's the second Tuesday of the month, it's Bible Day. Yes, well, we've got Mayor Joe Bishop in the studio this morning. Good morning, Mayor. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. Glad to have you here, along with your Chief Operating Officer, Daryl Basco. And I think we've got him on the camera. I'm trying to. Oh, no, my camera just went away, but we'll fix that. So glad to have you guys in the studio this morning chatting with us. Did your camera go away?
No, we're good.
Okay.
I got you. Go ahead.
All right.
Fix it.
But sorry, guys. We now have 3 cameras in here.
I don't think they should give us more than one. But we do have Stephen Maxwell, the professional with cameras. He's going to get set away. So, Mayor, it is Bible Day, and always great to have you in the studio talking about what's going on in Pineville. You were in the news yesterday on KLB talking about some new stuff in Pineville.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, once again, we bring it down the building on the main street, Shamrock Street. When I was a kid, there was the Harvey Scruggs Insurance Company, okay, and then it turned into Red River Rarities and stuff. And that intersection has been a blind intersection for years. I mean, the front canopy just got ripped off a couple of years ago by another 18-wheeler, and we had 18-wheelers in the past, hit telephone poles there and stuff. So now we're going to finally open that up, bring the building down once the asbestos abatement's done, and probably about 30 days out. And then will remain a green space. We have some nice drawings of draping lights across it, put some magnolia trees for the background to block out a few buildings in the back. And when we have functions on Main Street, such as Christmas parades, Mardi Gras parades, where food vendors get set up on this lot, or if you have like a Pops in the Park, you know, just a small musical production you want to set up there at nighttime and do a little show, that's what we're going to utilize this spot for.
I was driving down this morning,
coming in. I dropped my daughter off at Pineville High and come down Main Street, and you know, envisioning, you know, you had showed me the pictures yesterday in our meeting of what it was going to look like, and just paying attention to all the buildings that now have awnings and nice facades, you know. From 10, 15 years ago, Main Street has come a long way. It is really attractive.
Absolutely. So, Daryl, go ahead and elaborate a little bit about some of the lighting grants.
So, you know, with the Downtown Development District, one of the things that they've done throughout the years is, I think about 3 years ago, they started off with a facade grant. If a business on Main Street came in and did certain criteria, painting, or adding an awning to update their signage, then the Downtown Development District gave them a grant. I think it was half of the money back that they spent up to a certain amount.
Up to $10,000.
Which is $10,000. So now they've started to do, and I think it's $2,000 to do a lighting grant. Then they put in certain guidelines, specifications, you know, with what type of lighting, trying to stay in a certain time frame era, so you don't have somebody with disco lights on one side and somebody with, you know, candle on other. And actually, we talked at the barbecue festival this weekend. We had a little electrical issue at the beginning. An electrical contractor came out who's working with the downtown development district, and he told me that they've already done 5 updates of lightings, throughout the Main Street corridor, and I think they had another 2 or 3 to do. So, I mean, that's about 7 or 8 with a few more to come, so it's good to look. The change on Main Street, I think Jorge Roca, who's been a big person that has been involved in that, of course, along with other ones, Louisiana Fireplace, Willow Bench, all of those that have been there mainstays of Main Street. I think he's got a mural coming up or something, and they just opened up Josh Candelario's, I said that right, Candelario's photography there. We met with Steve another day and did a little thing where we put our heart at Old Town Hall. So just a little bit more to bring downtown Powell.
Am I your best art? It's really nice.
It is the
Fresh at the front of the old museum, you took out a bunch of overgrown bushes and it really freshened it up and brought it back to life. The church right there, River Outreach, just spent a lot of money.
They did redid their facade, did some updates to their facade. We did an update to when the Martin Library just had their 75th anniversary. We updated that garden, put in some fresh grass. We've got something for the building behind it coming through that we're working through some things. So another dilapidated building probably coming down in downtown Powell soon. So
it's great stuff. I noticed on the agenda today, item number 18 is regarding a cooperative endeavor agreement with Hemingway House of Stories and Spirits right there on Main Street. And there, the city has a small piece of property that really isn't used for anything. When I say small, it's about the size of maybe the studio, but they have come to the city with an idea of making it a seating area, and that would have to serve city purposes or their purposes, and that's on the agenda tonight, Mayor.
Yeah, it's correct. Just a small little grass area with a couple of trees. They want to create a outdoor seating venue there as far as for the public and for their business too. But if the city is still on it, they will carry insurance on it. So, but we have a great mock-up drawing of it, and it's going to be fantastic. And we're looking for the Hemingway House to open their doors.
Well, so downtown is becoming, kind of a destination.
Yeah, and just this past Saturday, we wrapped up on our barbecue festival downtown Powell. I want to say we probably had throughout the day over 500 people show up, and look, people would show up, and we cooked, myself and Daryl and city crews, so we cooked 16 Boston butts, and we gave them out to the public, pulled pork slider sandwiches, and everybody walked up, how much are they? They're free. Can I buy a ticket? Can I make a donation? No, it's free. So this barbecue festival, you could come and eat and enjoy and walk around. We had also some, vendors there selling lemonade stands, arts and crafts. We had Papa's Act as a band. Everybody enjoyed the bands. We had tables and chairs. We had a beautiful day downtown Highway on the riverbank.
I saw some drone footage of that. It just looked like I was out of town for a conference. I mean, what a great event. And whether cooperating, who won the contest?
Overall winner was grand champion was Corey Johnson, and then the Red River Fraternal Order Police won they did one for the best decorated tent to kind of stay in the in the theme of October, Halloween, and fall. They won that. We had some individual winners. We did chicken ribs and brisket, so 3 categories. We gave out prize money for overall, and then the 3 places within each category that was there. So, I'll say this, Todd Campbell, a local citizen in Pineville, works for CLECO. He reached out to him. I've been knowing Todd for years. He's actually, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but he's a Memphis and May judge. He's a certified judge. He travels all over the South and does KCBS, the American Roll. He does Memphis and May, a lot of qualifier events, and reached out to Todd and said, hey, look, can you help us put everything together? So he took the task home, wrangled judges for us, came out with official scoring. I know some of the contestants were waiting around. They thought it took a little too long, but it was more than just, this brisket tastes better than that brisket. He had scoring sheets and points and the whole thing. And so we're working with him to make it better and improve it next year. And he's got some great ideas. We want to get into what it is. We still got to have a lot of conversations, but some things to bring maybe more contestants, a few more prize options for addition for the next year. So just always trying to grow it as much as we can.
Absolutely wonderful. Mayor, talking about October events and festivities, big event coming up on the 23rd for the city of Pikeville with a big change, a venue location change.
Yes, so we're going to be moving Fall Fest from Keys Park to Warden Sports Complex there on Donahue Ferry Road. We have, it's more lighting, parking area, and it's just safer for the kids to go on. And, you're not crossing 28 East and everything. And you got bigger subdivisions that's right there. So I think we're going to have probably over 2,000 kids show up at this festival.
Well, that's got a lot of people, but they got a big parking lot handle something like that.
Absolutely, and that's where we can also show the citizens this is how your tax dollars are getting spent here with this beautiful Warden Sports Complex. And we turfed the infields there when I was on the police jury just a couple years ago, and Stevie Reshow and his entire crew do an excellent job of running and maintaining that park. So please come out. There's a walking, jogging trail there. Pafford's going to fly in their helicopter where the kids can go and crawl through and check out a helicopter and stuff. So we're excited about this. And we're also going to be cooking hot dogs with the FOP and the police department stuff. So every kid will have a hot dog that evening.
And they'll be able to see the progress on the pickleball. It's getting closer and closer every day. Saw some drone pictures of the concrete, dressing up the concrete, and starting to do lines and painting on that, and then fencing and lighting's last to come up on the backside. So it may be almost at completion, if not completed, by the time we hit Fall Fest.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
They do it fast.
Yes. When you got a company that comes in and knows what they're doing,
right?
That's what they do.
Well, and that was also a cooperative endeavor, right? That was shared expense.
Correct. Shared expense with the city of Pineville and the Warden Sports Complex. Yeah.
Well, I know folks are like that. Steven, have you played pickleball?
I need to try it.
Maybe we can get a city council versus radio tournament.
I got to put Alan Nathan. Wait, what team would you be on?
I'd be the Benedict Arnold. That time I'd be back and forth on either side, right? I'd be on the winning team.
Okay. We should do that. It'd be fun.
That would be a blast to have an event like that.
Yeah, there's something, I feel sure maybe it's kind of funny every time the police department, fire department shows up at an event, they always do the cornhole toss against each other. So maybe we can talk them into doing a pickleball tournament.
Up in Monroe years ago, they used to have the red and the blue boxing tournament or whatever.
Yeah, Battle of the Bash.
Battle of the Bash. How about Battle of the Bash with the pickleball court? Yeah, that's great. Mayor Joe Bishop is in the studio this morning. Chief Operating Officer Daryl Basco. A lot of great things happening in Pineville. Mayor, what else is on your mind? Oh, you mentioned Pafford. That's on the agenda tonight as well because they're building a facility at Mulo Airport.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they're spending over $100,000 on a brand new hangar for their helicopter. They're relocating their helicopter to, the airport there at Beulah Lake, and we're excited about doing business with Pafford. And once they finish their hangar, I think we might be looking at some living quarters for some of their employees.
So I did tell you this. I actually talked to them late yesterday and prepared for the council meeting tonight. They have the hangar, so everything's kind of prefab now, right? They're about 3.5 weeks out for the hangar being on site. It's in construction right now. Right now there's concrete and water put in the infrastructure, and then they have now placed the order for their living quarters that meet state fire marshal regulations with sprinkler systems and the whole thing. So that's on order and ship. They don't have a different shipping date yet, but soon to follow, so they can move their whole operation to the municipal Mulo Municipal Airport, Pineville Municipal Airport.
So it sounds like some of this the prefab stuff comes together like IKEA furniture, right? You snap it all together.
It's probably a little bit more sturdy than IKEA furniture. Not that IKEA is bad. It's a little bit more sturdy than IKEA furniture.
Yeah, I've seen some of that construction stuff. The panels come in and they really just, it's so well designed, and it's going to be a nice addition out there.
And their contractor, he stays in contact with myself and the mayor. When he doesn't get me, he calls the mayor, Mr. Carr. He's done a great job. He is very meticulous and adamant about permitting and everything that they had to do from day one, working with the Rapides Area Planning Commission. Matt Johns and his team did a great job of sitting down with them, working with their engineers to make sure the project was done absolutely 100% correct. So when Pafford is going out hiring contractors like that, that's making sure that everything is done correct, then you feel better we felt good about bringing them in, which it makes you feel better about what kind of quality service you're going to get out of them when they're that hire somebody that's that meticulous.
Well, and they just called in the show a little bit ago in response to Stephen's story on the police jury, but we won't go down that path anymore because we're talking about
There you go. And the great thing about it, once again, they're paying for this 100%, not the citizens of Pineville.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. I know it's not a Pineville project, but speaking of that area, the Red River Recreation Area behind the airport, the Red River Waterway Commission has. No, it's the Beulah Recreation Area. Sorry, Beulah Recreation Area owned by the Red River Waterway Commission. They have a huge construction project going on there that's going to benefit our citizens.
They do. That's going to be a little over a $5 million project there with pickleball courts, an amphitheater, a special needs playground for kids, and the unique stuff about their toys that they're going to put on the playground. It's going to be some shape, the Ocala Bridge, the dirigible, and things like that to bring Pineville and Alexander together there. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, we went to one of their meeting, I guess about a month ago. They meet in Natchitoches every month, and we went up there trying to see some other things that we could get done on the waterway there, and they did an update on it. Look, that group does great. A lot of people don't realize that commission stretches from north of Shreveport almost down the Three Rivers when you go on the other side of Avoyelles, and they have these type of projects going on all throughout that Red River Waterway corridor. They're doing a huge bicycle and walking trail up around the Caddo Bossier area. They have one that they're looking at doing south of us, plus this huge upgrade here. You know, Red River Waterway Commission has been a great partner for us since we came in, and having conversations with them about what all we can do along the river to include Fort Randolph and Fort Bulow Park to make that a whole area, I guess, a whole jewel that we have there to work on. So they've been a great partner.
And the Pineville Police monitors that area, security.
Yeah, even though it's outside the city, we did a cooperative endeavor or mutual aid agreement with them. I guess probably 3 or 4 years ago is when I was police chief.
Right.
We had done that where we actually go out and patrol, that inside the park area and work everything that's there. So it helps out. I mean, it was kind of like an isolated lump in the middle of the city. You had to go through the city to get to it. You had to go through the city to get out of it. So it kind of made sense for us to go. And the Rapid Sheriff's Office still does patrol it, but we've mainly taken over most of that. They have park rangers that do a great job of the things that they can enforce.
Benefit to all of our citizens, which is great. The call just dropped off. Feel free to call back 318-442-8255. If you call us back, we'll come see you after this break.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinic. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
Starting a business can be overwhelming, especially when you do it alone. Don't do it alone. Take control of your future with a Jenny King Gulf Coast franchise. With Jenny King, you can guarantee reliable operational support and ongoing education to set you up for success. Jenny King has built a proven system that gives you the tools to take control of your future confidently and with the support you need to thrive. The future is yours today at JennyKingCleans.com.
Tired of noisy neighbors kicking pets in and problems out? Sounds like you need a Promo fence. At Promo Fencing and Lawn Care, our fences don't just work, they wow. From classic cedar and pine privacy fences to durable chain link, sleek metal and aluminum, even decorative fencing. We've got something for every home, yard, or business, big or small, residential or commercial, all with free expert installs and small town customer care. Promo Fencing and Lawn Care, fences that feel like home.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Well, I like that kind of music. Sounds like some good Louisiana jazz going on there.
You got some more development stuff, like infrastructure. It's not necessarily the sexiest stuff in the world, but it's critically important to put in your water lines. Tell us about that.
It is, and you want to let citizens know how your tax dollars are being spent. So when you're going through the old Central State Hospital there on Shamrock and you turn left onto Rainbow Drive, we're fixing to do a water main extension right there, which is over a little over $700,000 going to the Giles Hyundai. And that way, when we move in the plan forward with Central State Hospital, that way we can serve the citizens with adequate water pressure and have fire system, fire plugs and everything else there.
And that's going to go feeding into future development in the central grounds.
That's right. We have taps, laterals and stuff coming off that water main to feed into the development of properties for new construction.
What I understand is that essentially everything within the hospital grounds would be considered, the infrastructure belonged to the Department of Hospitals. The water lines, streets, sewer lines, the electrical lines, all that was theirs. And so it does become a matter of how do you provide continuity of service and whatnot. So that's a big step forward.
That's right. We're developing that property. All the infrastructure has to be new. You can have water, sewer, gas, and electricity. Okay, so it's like developing a brand new subdivision.
And I think the big thing to remember is that so currently it's like a 2 and 3 inch line that's feeding Giles and Why Not Stop and all that. So this is increasing volume up to an 8 and 10 inches coming off of 12 coming off of Main.
Which will provide future expansion.
It gives you way much to get future expansion. We're doing some stuff out going up towards Euclid, going up towards Scenic Drive, and then like the mayor said, adding that extra fire protection along there where there's nothing now, but in future growth, to look forward to killing out old hydrants and then adding new hydrants to make sure the fire protection is great too.
Okay. Well, Mayor, let me ask you, is there any way you can get us another Mexican restaurant in Powell?
Absolutely. And hey, we appreciate people coming to Pineville to do business, but we cannot regulate on how many Mexican restaurants, how many Chinese restaurants, or how many nail salons is out there and stuff. But hey, if somebody's wanting to come to Pineville, our doors are open for business, okay? Yeah. And if people, every day I am out there trying to market to get us a nice steakhouse in Pineville. But if somebody wants to step up the plate, come and knock on my door, come to my house, call me day or night, we would do business with you.
Well, and I said that facetiously. Obviously, there was a story on KLB yesterday that I talked about that, and it stunned me that the number of negative comments, like that's all we need to know. I'm like, why can't you enjoy, or why don't you go invest? And I don't mean to be mean, but
I don't know if I would say I was stunned by the comments.
Okay, maybe it's the quantity, and it was almost like a monolithic voice. That's the only thing. People weren't even talking about the great other stuff that was in the story. There were so many good things in there. So, if the market, well, let me ask you this. People, some of the comments were on the lines of, well, you give the permits, why don't you just not give them a permit? How can you not give a permit to someone who meets the qualifications?
We cannot do that.
The only purpose of the permit is to make sure that they do meet the standards, right?
That's right.
But you can't just arbitrarily say, well, no, we've got, 4 Mexican restaurants or 5, we're not going to have it. You can't. You'd be sued out the lawsuit.
That's what I was supposed to say. How many attorneys we got here in Refuse Training?
You don't need to building either.
Yeah, that's right.
And I guess things that people don't see and people don't know, and I'll share this. A couple of weeks ago, we kind of sat down and looked at the map and said, okay, so who around us is making some moves and things happen? So we took a trip over to Leesville, met with Mayor Allen and his team, and look, they were great. They gave us a list of everybody they're pursuing because they feel like they are outside of our market, right? We're not in competition with them. So they gave us a list, Aldi, 7 Brew Coffee, etc., a list to go through. So I put together a package and submitted it to all those companies going, hey, if you're going to go to Leesville, which they haven't got any different thing, well, let's look at Pineville and see about moving here. We're getting some responses from some people. They're looking at our economics, and the big thing the mayor and I talk about all the time. We met with somebody. The big thing is workforce. And when you look at a successful restaurant in Alexandria, and you meet with the owner, and the owner looks at you and says, "I understand the market's there, but I'm concerned about the workforce and how many people, he knows how many people it takes to make it work at one location. I'll go open another one, but I'm concerned about how do I get this many people at location number 2 to continue to be successful, because he or she doesn't want to go open a second store and it fail.
Offer standard service, right?
On that standards of service. And look, not throwing names, but if you look around, there are certain restaurants in Central Louisiana that are quality, successful, great food, great service every time you go in it. Some are hit and miss, right? And you don't want the hit and miss place. You want that. One of the comments I'll do is somebody said Quibido's. Quibido's isn't a chain, but they have a great steak. That's true. A lot of people don't realize that Quibido serves a great steak in Pineville, that's in Kingsville, that you can go to. They've actually did a recent expansion and opened up a little bar area that's there. A lot of people don't go because they just don't. They don't have
They think Cajun only.
Right, they think Cajun only and don't, but they have a great steakhouse, a great little bar.
There are little BB's right there too.
A little what?
The BB's on that same
Yeah, BB's. We went. Me and my wife went there the other night. Some of the best in that ethnic food group I've had in a long time. I mean, it really was. You know.
It's almost like John just needs to rename it Quibido's Steak and Cajun or something like
Maybe
that.
something
Put
like
the
that.
word steak in there because a lot of people don't realize he has some really good aged beef in there.
He does. I just had a steak there the other day, and I love going there and Bucks. And you just sit back and you look at all the employees that both of them restaurants have. And so, you know,
And their employees are paid well.
They're paid well.
Because they provide a good service.
That's right.
And we were in Buckets Friday night, I think. We went up there to eat with a couple friends, and look, it's always great quality food. That's another place that's kind of tucked away in Pineville, of course. Usually Friday, Saturday night, there's not a hidden secret, but there's people that really don't know about it. You say Buckets, and they're like, huh? Where's that?
Well, they got a tuna, a glazed
The
tuna.
tuna steaks, I love it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe we got a minute. Any last things you want to share with
Well,
us?
tonight we're also going to recognize Mr. Brian Sitzbeva. Brian is retiring as a Pineville City prosecutor, and we're bringing on the new prosecutor, which she's already started, Miss Shelby Terrell. Welcome her aboard. So we're going to have a cake tonight at the Pineville City Hall. If you want to come out there and come eat cake with Brian and the council, I would love to have that. Also, too, we're buying a new street sweeper. And I just want the citizens to know, when you see a street sweeper going down the road, that is almost $400,000. So Errol and I rode up to Natchitoches because when the way I look at things, when I buy something, I want to make sure I buy it once. Okay, so Natchitoches just bought a new street sweeper. We went up there, we talked to the operator of it. He loved it, so we ordered the same street sweeper that Natchitoches has.
Good deal.
Yeah,
If you can get an Aldi, that'd be the biggest.
So actually, on the list I have from Leesville, that's one that they're pursuing that I've got on my list that I've sent on. We're going to send a package to it.
I hate to do it, but
We got to take the bottom of the hour break.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you all.
Come tonight, have your cake and eat it too.
Yes, the council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Joseph.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Yesterday, investors celebrated the possible easing of U.S.-China trade tensions. Today, the reverse. China is exiting U.S. units of the South Korean shipping giant and is threatening even more retaliation. If you're thinking about making some home improvements, it's probably going to cost you more. As of today, the U.S. collecting new pricey tariffs on imported timber, lumber, kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and upholstered furniture. And the levies are scheduled to go up again New Year's Day. Tough out there for would-be car buyers. Kelley Blue Book says the average price of a new car in the U.S. topped $50,000 for the first time last month. So look, banks reporting quarterly results this morning. J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs shares lower, and early trading Citi and Wells Fargo are higher. And the protein craze is coming for sugar-frosted Pop-Tarts. Snack company Kellanova will offer a version of Pop-Tarts with higher protein content starting next month. Pepsi is also planning for a higher protein version of Doritos. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
Woo, this party is a blast. Thanks. The community center here at England Airport has been so easy to work with. They let me pick my own caterer. Is it a party? Good morning. I definitely recommend it for your upcoming 40th birthday party. You mean the 29th?
Make your special occasion more memorable. Book the community center at England Airport. For availability and details on rental agreements and event planning services, visit englandairport.org.
Let's get ready for some spooky, family-friendly fun. Enjoy fall festivals, art walks, a zombie walk, trick-or-treating, and so much more. Plus, look at ski events like the Vento Gala Annual Fundraiser and River Oaks on October 18th, and the Women in Business Conference on October 30th and 31st at the Alexandria Convention Center, hosted by the Central Louisiana Chamber of Commerce. Go to AlexandriaPinevilleLA.com for details and visit ExploreLouisiana.com to plan your trip today.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the cost of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless. Because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
I'm not complaining, but it could be a few degrees cooler, right? Good morning. Our forecast calling for sunny skies today. 87 will do it for the afternoon high. It doesn't get much prettier than this in Louisiana. Winds out of the north-northeast at 5 to 10. 57 the overnight low again tonight. And tomorrow we'll see exact same forecast. 87 for the high under sunny skies. First mention of any rain? Maybe on Saturday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
Welcome back to Talk Back for this Tuesday. You just enjoyed having a great interview with Mayor Joe Bishop of Pineville and his Chief Operations Officer Daryl Basco. Tonight is a city council meeting over in Pineville, and they'll invite you at 5 p.m. for that meeting. 4:30 is a zoning commission meeting. Right now, though, we want to change gears a little bit, turn our attention to the telephone line where we're joined on the phone by Danielle Bryant, the pharmacy director at Rapides Regional Medical Center, to tell us about a big event that Rapides Regional is sponsoring. Good morning, Danielle.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So glad you called in. I heard the news about this event. This is one of those things that people don't know they need until they hear about it, but it's an opportunity to give back prescriptions, what to do with out-of-date prescriptions, or that you're not needing them anymore, you didn't use them all, but you don't supposed to flush them down the toilet. So it's, what do you do with these prescriptions? And Rapides Regional has an answer for you.
Exactly. Yes. So we are hosting our 3rd annual Crush the Crisis event. We're so excited. We are going to be having it on Friday, October 24th, and we're partnering with the sheriff, the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office, and KALB. And then we're going to, Max Fresh Market has agreed to host us. So we actually have 2 locations this year, which is really exciting. We're going to be in Alexandria and Tioga. And so, yeah, basically people can go ahead and go through your medication cabinets, go through your drawers, collect any of that unused, unwanted drugs that you don't need anymore, and we will be happy to take them from you and then get them disposed of safely so that you don't have any unwanted or unneeded things in your house.
Well, and this is part of the Drug Enforcement Administration's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, and it really is the safest way to deal with those pills that should not fall into wrong hands. You don't want your children, your grandkids to get a hold of them accidentally, or they fall on the floor and a dog eats them or whatever. So, such a critical need. And you guys, what do you do with these drugs?
That's right. Yeah. So we actually partner with the sheriff's office, and they take them and then they send them to be basically incinerated or disposed of that way. So, and like you mentioned, you don't want to have these drugs in your home, because we know that more than 70% of people who abuse prescription opioids get them from a friend or relative. And then 2/3 of teens who misuse pain relievers report that they got them from family and friends. So we don't want to be the person that, has something in their home that someone comes into contact with. And like you mentioned, it is in conjunction with the DEA's National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. We want to ensure that we're always, trying to do whatever we can to help that public health crisis that's going on with drug overdoses.
Last year, this event collected over 200 pounds of prescription medicine.
Yeah.
And when you think about how little a pill weighs, that's a lot of medication.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So what, do y'all have a goal this year? Or are you going to try to get 200?
Well, we're going to shoot for the stars this year. So we want to get 500 pounds. We've got 2 locations. We know this is a need for our community. So we really want to get those 500 pounds collected. And I did want to mention what we will accept. So it doesn't just have to be opioids or controlled substances. It's any medication that you have. Tablets or capsules. We'll take patches, ointments, liquid medications. We can take vape cartridges without the batteries. We can take pet medications. So any of that we can take. We just won't accept needles, syringes, lancets, or illegal drugs. But most of the things we will accept. So y'all bring that on down. We'll be happy to collect that from you and help us reach our goal and get this out of your homes.
Danielle Bryant, the Director of Pharmacy for Rapides Regional Medical Center, our guest, talking about this big event coming up on October the 24th, just 10 days away. So it's next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. And tell us again the locations where people and the times where people can drop these off.
Yes. So we will be at Max Fresh Market on Jackson Street in Alexandria and then on Shreveport Highway in Tioga. And we will be there from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So you can come right after work that day, drop off your meds, and we'll be happy to take them. Again, we'll be partnering with our Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office, who we're really appreciative of. They've partnered with us for 3 years on this. And then this year we're adding KALB. So we're super excited about this event.
Well, throw us in there in the mix. We're happy to talk about it here at Sunline Broadcasting because it is an important event. And we're really happy to remind people how they can deal with something that could become cumbersome or could become a problem. And it's a good way to deal with it. So thank you very much. Appreciate you, Danielle, calling in and letting us know about it.
Yes, thank y'all so much for the time and for helping us get the word out on this. We appreciate y'all.
You're very welcome. Thanks. And we'll be back with more right after this.
KSYL.
All of us have that one friend who can just light up the room with a smile. And sadly, how many of us are just a little bit envious of that friend? Well, here's the good news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver that beautiful beaming smile. Over the years, hundreds of hopeful patients have visited and been completely satisfied. They've made getting dental implants an amazingly simple, low-anxiety procedure, one that's affordable for anyone's budget. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Isn't it your turn to light up that room? Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540.
Hi, I'm Rhett with Entergy Louisiana, and I'm a customer too. I'm proud to say that our rates are 33% below the national average. Every day, our team is focused on keeping costs lower for you. We take affordability personally because this is our home too. So we work harder and smarter to fight rising costs while also improving reliability for years to come. This isn't just my job, it's a commitment to my community. Together, we power life. Entergy.
A message from Israel Air Conditioning and Heating.
Yeah, my mama, she told me to pick up and call Israel Air. She told me Israel Air. She told me. She said they'll come running with comfort beyond compare.
At a very fair price.
Because we're all about your comfort, no troubles. Call 442-6657. That's 442-6657. We're all about your comfort,
Talk back. To take part of the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
On his flight over to Israel, Trump was asked by Fox News whether the ceasefire he brokered might help him in the afterlife.
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven, okay?
I agree with Donald Trump. Still canceled?
Yes. All right, Stephen Colbert last night, he did begrudgingly give credit to President Trump for the ceasefire, but some of you may have seen that interview on Air Force One flying back. I told my wife as we looked at that, I said, well, he may be the closest to understanding grace ever if you recognize that none of your good works will get you to heaven. But, that's probably a debate or a talking point for a different radio show.
They were, he's been talking about heaven a lot lately. Wonder what's going on.
Maybe he's got heaven on his mind. I think there's a Southern gospel song like that. So I did want to segue though, because we were talking about that, you and I off the air a little bit, and it's obviously permeated the news. When I opened up Twitter last night doing some show prep, I would say a good 50% of my feed was consumed with that type of information and accolades being given. So it is big news, because if it becomes a true peace, that is recognized and accepted by all the parties, and by Iran, which supposedly they've signed off on this, Jordan, Syria, Egypt, the Palestinians, and it excludes Hamas from leading Gaza. It could allow Gaza to truly become a home place in a two-state solution. Possibly, we'll see. But pretty big news, I think, and we'll see how this all works out in the long run.
On to Russia and Ukraine now, apparently.
Well, he's meeting with Vladimir Zelensky. Is it Friday?
Well, yeah, Zelensky this week.
Yeah, so
Zelensky's coming to America again.
And then the question becomes, I heard him saying that, look, if Russia doesn't pony up the table, they're going to give Tomahawks to Ukraine, which would give them a greater reach. That definitely escalates things to another level.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely a more complicated situation. We've been seeing Russia get a little bit more aggressive across Europe with some of the drones and I guess you could say modern warfare. So different animal, almost a different stance from the administration on handling it, but we will see. We will see.
Well, and also for those who are tracking this sort of thing, today is Charlie Kirk's birthday. Would have been 32 years old today, I believe. And so there's a lot of recognition of him. Then they have the Turning Point USA organization has announced an alternative halftime show because they wanted to give something different than the Bad Bunny experience for those who wanted that. I've actually heard of some others trying to do something similar. I don't know, if you're organizing the halftime show, how do you find something that appeals to everybody? Everything you're going to choose, anything you choose is only going to select one genre. It's almost impossible to have something that every single person would get behind.
This is wild to me. We have to come up with alternative halftime shows.
Why
has it got to be a big deal?
It's not been uncommon, I know a lot of groups, a lot of churches have used having a big Super Bowl party, and at halftime they would do something different. They would, show a video or have maybe a little message from the preacher or something different, because going back to the Janet Jackson Nipplegate experience who was the singer with Timberlake, and the gyrations that take place. You got your kids watching the game with you. That may not be something you want to expose your kids to. So I understand it's been a pretty common event. In fact, there for a while, the NFL was suing churches, telling them they could not use the name Super Bowl in their advertising because it's a trademark. And so then they were saying, come watch the big game with us on Sunday.
They do that with TV networks too.
Is that right?
If we would always say if it was like airing on CBS and I worked for NBC, we call it the big game.
Okay.
It's just something that you do.
All right.
But, whatever, do your own. If you don't like what the NFL does, don't even watch the games. Take a stand.
Well,
you don't like Bad Bunny, don't even watch the football game.
But does the halftime show have anything to do with the football game?
Yeah, it's the NFL.
But does it affect the game other than taking a long time between the halves?
Yeah, take a long time, I guess.
I like bands. I say put the Grambling State Marching Band out there and let them put on a show, or LSU Marching Band.
Well, I don't know a lot about Bad Bunny, but I think I think it'll be entertaining. I don't think it's going to be you never know what they're going to do. I don't care. If you want to watch Turning Point, go for it. So I wonder who they're going to have. What, Ted Nugent or something?
The last time I saw
Lee Greenwood.
Lee Greenwood's name was on there, of course, but it said the list of names was not finalized. So the list that I saw was a proposed list. So let me see if they have a list of a formal.
Me and my family will be watching Bad Bunny. We might just watch it just for that.
Just for spite.
Not spite. My wife loves Bad Bunny.
Does she?
They like that.
I was on the way to school this morning, taking my daughter to school, and a news item came on how Taylor Swift had won I think 15 first, she's now second only to the Beatles and all that. And my teenage daughter says, I don't like Taylor Swift. And I said, why not? She said, everything she does is about sex. And this is my teenage daughter saying that to me. I'm like, I don't disagree with you. I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were on it. So
I don't even know. Is it?
Well, they say this last particular one, I read the lyrics to one.
Oh, it's a little raunchy. Yeah,
it was pretty raunchy. All right, and there's going to be some moms of 7-year-old girls shocked when they read the lyrics. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Good morning.
Hey there.
I wanted to call in. You were speaking of accolades earlier. This is your favorite employee, and I wanted to give you a accolade for being a great boss and also a great pastor.
Man, I had to pause for a minute and say, who on earth is this? Well, thank you, Debbie.
You're quite welcome. I wanted to give you a little bit of recognition. You are a great boss. You're very kind and generous, and I just wanted to let you know I appreciate you very much.
He's a good guy.
Goodness. Debbie, I am floored and stunned, and thank you very much, because I know how much you don't like public stuff. So to be on the radio talking, thank you very much, Debbie. That was very kind of you.
You're quite welcome.
Wow.
What is today something?
October is traditionally Pastor Appreciation Month or Clergy Appreciation Month. So, that was, wow.
Very nice.
I didn't recognize your voice at first, and wow, Debbie, you made me speechless.
You're a good fella. Wow. We can all agree on that.
I'll have to go to the commercial just for that and compose myself. Back after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
Central Louisiana has what it takes. Strong workforce, perfect location, and a legacy of getting things done. That's why Beaver Lake Renewable Energy is producing clean fuel in Pineville, investing $2.5 billion, bringing 1,100 construction jobs, 600 permanent jobs, and millions in local tax revenue made here, powered by us. Visit BeaverLakeEnergy.com and see how we're putting Central Louisiana back on the map.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
My wife was frying okra. She's from Mississippi, so that's her favorite thing to do. She left the burner on high, and it didn't take long to ignite. So I ran to the stove, grabbed the pot, and that's when I got burned from a grease fire. And yes, the pain was, it was bad. Oh, Blue Cross treated me great with the recovery process. On the financial side, it would be expensive without Blue Cross. And that's what I was worrying about because I was out of work for 3 months. I'm Chad. I'm from Baton Rouge, and I had Blue Cross for 10 years. I don't eat fried okra. That's the funniest story.
Louisiana Blue. The right card. The right care.
AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
Well, we're back to Talkback for the final segment. It's the final segment. Okay, final countdown. Yeah, horrible.
You don't want to talk about our favorite Bad Bunny songs?
I have no. I don't know that I've ever heard. No,
I know you haven't. Yeah.
I like Latin music. I really do. And, I speak Spanish. I understand some of it, but when they're singing and rapping, I have a hard time. I have a hard time understanding some English rap and singing, so that's no big deal. But I really couldn't tell you if I wouldn't recognize the song.
I got you. No, I understand.
I'm not the target audience, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
60-year-old white male.
I don't think I am either.
But your wife is. Mm-hmm. And the young people, I guess so.
I'll rephrase it. I don't know if she loves him, but we have it in the house every once in a while. The song.
There's different music genres that people enjoy, and I have really gotten into a guy called Forrest Frank in the last few months. Really, really have enjoyed his music. He's the guy that did the song "Gonna Have a Good Day." And then there's another one about Your Way's Better is a big viral dance that was created. Even the Savannah Bananas did it as part of their show. He's got a song called God's Got Your Back when he fell and broke his back. That became a viral hit. And then the week right after that, Lemonade became I've really enjoyed hearing his music, and his, he's really targeting more the teens and 20s, but I enjoy the music. So
I'm not much of a music guy lately. I hate to be that way, but I just don't really listen too much. It's mostly this kind of stuff.
No, let's go. Yeah, I do listen more talk than anything else. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on Talk Back with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, good morning. It's FedEx Sam. It's been a minute. How are y'all doing today?
It's been a while. We're so glad to hear from you.
Yeah. I'm trying to get out of politics, and it's not doing good for anybody. So it's a bit of a mental drain. But I did have a question for you guys. KALB used to do a shred fest with the shredding company in town, and they haven't done one for a couple of years. And I'm just wondering if maybe you guys would be up for partnering with them, or just maybe getting in touch and seeing if you guys can do that.
We'll talk to ownership. That was something that they did. You're right. I don't think they've done it since 23 or last couple of years. Typically, it takes partnering with a company that does that, or bringing in a commercial entity. And I agree with you. That would be a very good thing for those bank statements and tax records and medical documents and stuff that you just want to get rid of in bulk. Steve, we'll task you to talk into ownership here and see.
If we do it, we have to have a guy shredding on the guitar too in the background. We're gonna live it.
I'm up for that. Yeah. I made the fatal mistake of collecting statements after they did it for so many years in a row instead of shredding them as I got them. So now I have a couple of boxes worth ever since they stopped doing it. So
I didn't know they quit.
Word to the wise, don't do that.
I didn't know they quit.
Well, you can opt for paperless options for most of your accounts.
I get a little discount when I do.
Yeah.
No.
They like that.
Oh, that's interesting. Where do you get a discount? I'm interested in hearing about
Verizon,
that. Chase did that. Many
Capital
places.
One.
AT&T, I get a $5 a month discount for being paperless.
Yep. And an auto pay discount.
Yeah, the auto pay one, I've seen that one.
Auto pay's harder with the economy these days, but for some people. But.
Yeah, I had to deliver. My card got compromised 2 weeks ago, so I had to get a new card. You forget how many things you have set up on that card. When my water bill didn't get paid this month. Obviously, the deadline's not till tomorrow.
Oh, shoot, I got to pay mine too.
You're welcome.
Because whenever I was in Shreveport, SWEPCO sends you 55,000 emails. I don't see anything from the new one. I have to check. Because I'm bad at paying bills. It has to be on auto pay. Or it's going to be late.
I love auto pay. It's the best thing ever.
You don't want to thank you guys for taking the call. I appreciate it.
Hey, no, I wanted to say to you, thank you for calling in. I've missed you, man. I really appreciate your calls.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll try to call in more and hopefully, stay off of politics and see how well I can deal with that.
No, bring it up. Let's do it.
Stephen, I think he wants to read.
Well, I appreciate that Stephen's here. He's more centrist than I would have expected in town. And, I'll be 100% honest here. You have one caller here who just sees half the country's views as evil and just such a bad thing that exists. And it's very frustrating, and I can't deal with that. And that's not a good way to start a conversation with someone. And they just come at it looking at it with a negative viewpoint. So I just, and given how polarized the world is right now, it's better to separate, to me personally, than to even engage with something like that.
I get you.
Personal views.
Yeah,
I got you. I think I know who you're talking about. What's funny is I think if you guys sat in a room together and had coffee, you'd have a great conversation, because in person, he's definitely not strident, but I understand what you're saying. And
sure. I mean, I even hear Stephen frustrated with them sometimes. I hear the frustration coming through. And I think it was last week when he was, arguing about healthcare specifically. But again, I know we're running low on time. I don't want to take it all up.
No, we're good.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead. We got
we've got about a minute left, so we're going to just talk to each other and go so
close it on out. Yeah,
that's right.
I'll give Trump credit where it's due. There's something going on in the Middle East, and hopefully it lasts. But this isn't the first time that an agreement has been created or agreed upon and then unfortunately violated. So it's a little early to be prematurely celebrating something, but I'll keep my fingers crossed and hopefully it sticks. But I wouldn't be surprised if this goes back to status quo in under a week.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of waiting to see that. And the big thing I think a lot of Americans want to focus on, and we've heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene, I mean, this is important, had to be done, but let's get America's economy up and going. People are
Yeah,
looking at
she's a wild card right now, right? Like she's supporting the Democrats on the healthcare side, which is unexpected. But
She doesn't
who
take
knows?
corporate PAC money, which is something I think is the problem that we're seeing on both sides of the aisle.
A root of all evil. So, Sam, you can't hear it, I don't think, but the music has started playing, so they're going to tune us on out of here. But thanks for your call again. We enjoy hearing from you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right. So when I called in Friday, Stephen, I can confirm to you that the caller does not hear the music, so we have to.
Oh, really?
Because when I called y'all Friday, and then I got through it, Allison, you hear the music? I never heard it. I went back and listened to the show. The music had been playing for a while, and I was still talking.
Does that make sense? Because no one stops.
That's it. All right, we're going, folks. Back tomorrow with Al and
You've
Steve.
been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting.